For more, we do want to welcome in Batya Ungar-Sargon. Of course, you know, she is the host of Batya Saturdays right here on News Nation. Really appreciate you making the time on a Sunday, no less. I do want to start with that story, the crime in Chicago, these horrifying incidents this week. And the overall context, we do want to point out, still shows crime in Chicago is actually down in recent years, including in those major violent crime categories. But what is your take on whether federal intervention is needed? Is that the right path now?
Thank you so much for having me. I do think that there would be an appetite for that in Chicago. The thing that your audience needs to understand about crime in Chicago is that it's very racialized because the city is very segregated. And so the victims of the vast majority of the violent crime in Chicago are Black, and they live in, the South Side, the West Side, whereas the white Chicagoans are by and large, don't face the same level. And I'm talking about a difference of like 5 to 1. If you're a Black man between the ages of 15 and 25 living in Chicago, you have a lower life expectancy than somebody living in the Congo. And that's just utterly, utterly, utterly unacceptable. And what's horrible is that you have these situations where people like Mayor Brandon Johnson get in power. And then because there isn't some sort of outcry from the mainstream media about this, because all of the crime is localized in the poorer communities, everybody acts like it's just okay. And I find that to be really, really unacceptable. So I would really hope that they would accept the president's offer for help. It doesn't matter if crime is going down when you are the victim of a crime. So I just don't for the life of me understand why they would reject these offers. And I really hope to see something in the coming weeks.
Yeah, and Trump, of course, zeroing in on the governor, calling the mayor low IQ this weekend. This feud is not a secret, certainly. There is a new report that says that the president denied a disaster aid request to Chicago after 2 destructive summer storms, the first such denial by any president since 2007. The White House does say that Trump handles each request, quote, with great care. But given their feud, is it a good look for the president to deny those requests?
No, it definitely isn't. He should definitely not be denying requests like that. Although often when you have these reports come out, the administration will deny them, and then a few days later it will turn out that they were not exactly accurate in the way that they were reported. But certainly a request like that should absolutely be granted.
I want to turn to another headline with you. The president on Friday, of course, meeting with New York City's incoming mayor, Zohran Mamdani. Despite their many differences, they shocked a lot of people with how cordial this meeting seemed between the two of them. What was your take? Were you surprised by this? And also, Trump is particularly skilled at commanding headlines and playing the media like a fiddle. Do you think there was any element of that in the meeting we saw on Friday?
I have to say, my reaction to this meeting was I was kvelling, which is Yiddish for just grinning ear to ear and really enjoying this moment. I'm just a sucker for common ground. This is so what we're about here at News Nation. And to see these two men, both of whom I think truly care about affordability, find common ground I was really moved by it. And I thought that it was really a beautiful moment. Trump is very forgiving in some ways. He can hold a grudge, but at some point, one of the reporters said to, Mayor-elect Mamdani, do you still think he's a fascist? And Trump basically said, you can say yes. It was just such a funny moment. So I think what happened in that meeting was Mamdani convinced Trump that he was going to take public safety very seriously and that he wasn't going to give him a hard time about ICE deportations. And if that is the case, I truly commend Mamdani for that. I think since he got elected, he's been tacking to the center. He's keeping on Jessica Tisch, our great police commissioner. So we'll see what happens, but I thought this was great.
All right, let's talk about the events in terms of a Ukraine deal to come this week, possibly. We know that U.S. delegation meeting with counterparts from Ukraine and other nations. They're trying to work out this deal to end this war with Russia. It seems like it's the closest that we've been to ending the conflict. Do you agree with that, or are tougher negotiations needed past Thanksgiving, well past Thanksgiving, that involve the Russians, involve the Ukrainians coming to the table?
I think Trump's real strength as a negotiator is he really understands how to push people and how much to push them. He understands when people have cards and when they don't have cards, and he understands how you get the stronger party to say yes and the weaker party. You have to offer each of them something that they want. I really do believe we're close. It feels like it's close. You have Witkoff and then you have Rubio, and they're doing slightly different things here. They're playing different roles. It seems like Witkoff's job is to get the Russians to the table, and Rubio's job is to get the Ukrainians to the table. This has gone on for so long, and the president seems truly distraught by just the needless bloodshed. It was sort of obvious from the beginning how this was going to end. And I think that we're getting closer and closer to finding that exact place where the exact line is going to be, the exact level of demilitarization, and the exact level of security commitment that the U.S. is going to offer Ukraine.
All right. Batya Ungar-Sargon, host of Batya right here on News Nation. Really appreciate you making the time tonight. Thank you.
Anytime. Thanks so much for having me. God bless.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our News Nation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.